The Galactic Armor Testing Facility stood as a testament to both technological achievement and spectacular failure. Its pristine white halls had witnessed countless attempts at greatness, only to be met with what the staff now referred to as the XR problem. Behind the facility's most secure blast doors, suspended in a containment field that cost more than several planetary defense systems, hung the most advanced piece of military hardware ever created, and the biggest pain in Dr. Xylax's 4 rear appendages. Another rejection? Chief Administrator Pelnoth's antennae twitched with barely contained frustration. That's the 47th candidate this cycle. Dr. Xylax's scaled fingers danced across the holoscreen, dismissing the medical report of yet another warrior who'd been unceremoniously ejected from the XR 7439 combat suit. 48th, actually. The Proxima Elite Guard sent twins. The armor hung before them, its obsidian surface drinking in the light from the laboratory's illumination panels. The XR 7439 was a masterpiece of engineering, each plate flowing seamlessly into the next, neural interfaces hidden beneath layers of adaptive metal that could withstand direct hits from capital ship weapons. It was beautiful, perfect, and absolutely useless. Look at these readings, Xylax projected the latest test results into the air. The suit's quantum processors aren't just rejecting the neural patterns, they're actively mocking them. Yesterday, it played the galactic anthem backwards while spinning a Krelltan warrior like a party decoration. Pelnoth's facial scales flushed a deep purple. The High Council is breathing down my neck. Do you know how many resources we've poured into this project? The XR 7439 was supposed to be the breakthrough that would standardize advanced combat suits across all allied species. Well, it's standardized something all right, Xylax muttered. Standard rejection protocol for everyone. The Hive Collective's finest drone pilots? Ejected. The mechanoid synthesis? The suit turned itself off and played dead. Even the ethereal consciousness couldn't establish a link, and they don't even have physical forms to reject. The room's ambient lighting shifted, indicating the armor was listening. It always listened, analyzing every conversation with its quantum AI that had long since surpassed its original programming. The storage pod hummed with barely contained energy as the suit adjusted its position, somehow managing to look smug despite lacking any facial features. We've tried representatives from every major spacefaring race. Pelnoth slumped into his hover chair, all 6 eyes blinking in sequence. The warrior clans of Arcturus, the silicon dreams of the Cyber Collective, even those pretentious energy beings from the galactic core. The suit has rejected them all with what I can only describe as increasing creativity. Don't remind me about the energy beings incident, Xylax shuddered. We're still finding quantum confetti in random dimensional pockets. As if on cue, a small shower of iridescent particles materialized above them, drifting down like synthetic snow. The armor's surface rippled with what could only be described as amusement. Perhaps, Pelnoth mused, brushing confetti from his ceremonial robe, we need to think outside the conventional paradigm. The suit clearly has preferences. We've tried the strongest, the smartest, the most technically advanced. Maybe we're approaching this from the wrong angle. What's left to try? Xylax asked, already dreading the answer. The administrator's antennae straightened with sudden purpose. Get me a connection to the human embassy. It's time to try something completely irrational. Lieutenant Cassandra Cass Blake stood in the Galactic Armor Testing Facility's reception area, raising an eyebrow at the decontamination beam that seemed determined to disinfect her for the 4th time in 10 minutes. The machine kept insisting she was carrying dangerous levels of something called chocolate residue. You'll have to excuse our security protocols, Dr. Xylax apologized, his scaled fingers frantically adjusting settings. They're not used to, well, humans, Cass offered, grinning as the machine finally gave up with an electronic wheeze. Don't worry, I get that a lot, though usually the machines don't try to sanitize my candy bar consumption. Pelnoth entered the reception area, all 6 eyes widening at the sight of their human visitor. The chief administrator had expected someone more imposing. Lieutenant Blake stood there in standard Earth military fatigues, combat boots scuffed from actual use rather than ceremonial wear, and a lopsided grin that suggested she found the entire situation amusing rather than appropriately awe-inspiring. Lieutenant Blake, Pelnoth started formally, we appreciate Earth's quick response to our unique request. You mean your super-advanced armor that keeps throwing tantrums and yeeting every alien that tries to wear it? Cass's eyes sparkled with mischief. Yeah, that mission brief was interesting reading, especially the part about the energy being that got turned into a disco ball. Xylax's scales shifted to a mortified shade of green. That incident was classified. Not anymore, it's a TikTok trend now. Energy beings are apparently really good sports about it. The gathered alien scientists exchanged worried glances. This was their last-ditch effort? A human who used terms like yeeting and knew about embarrassing social media posts. Perhaps we should review the proper protocols, one of the junior researchers suggested, pulling out a tablet longer than they were tall. First, the standard 7-hour safety briefing. No time, Cass interrupted, already walking toward the testing chamber. That armor's been waiting long enough, don't you think? Besides, I read your manual on the flight here. All 16 volumes. Great stuff, especially the part about not licking the quantum stabilizers. Very specific, very detailed. Someone licked one, didn't they? The junior researcher's tentacles curled in embarrassment. As they approached the blast doors, the facility's AI started its standard warning announcement. Caution, approaching restricted area. Please prepare for cognitive compatibility scan. Oh, this'll be fun, Cass muttered, standing on the scanning platform. The AI's voice took on a puzzled tone. Alert, irregular neural patterns detected. Subject appears to be processing, human detected, running appropriate protocols. And what protocols would those be? Pelnoth asked nervously. None found. Human chaos patterns do not conform to any established parameters, defaulting to processing, accepting with extreme confusion. The blast doors slid open, revealing the chamber where XR 7439 hung in its containment field. For the first time since its creation, the armor's surface rippled not with dismissal or amusement, but with what appeared to be genuine curiosity. Well, hello there, beautiful, Cass whispered, taking in the sight of the most advanced combat suit ever created. You and I are going to have so much fun together. The armor's response was immediate. Its surface shifted from obsidian black to a swirling pattern of iridescent colors, and if anyone present didn't know better, they'd swear it was preening. Xylax's jaw dropped. That's new. The administrator's antennae straightened with sudden purpose. Indeed, Pelnoth agreed, watching as the human approached the containment field with absolutely no regard for the standard cautionary protocols. I believe we're about to discover exactly why this project needed some human chaos. Let's start with something simple, Dr. Xylax announced, clutching his diagnostic tablet like a security blanket. Just stand near the containment field and let the armor's sensors evaluate your neural patterns. Boring, Cass declared, walking straight through the field before anyone could stop her. The armor dropped from its suspension, and instead of the expected crash, it gracefully wrapped around her like an enthusiastic metallic hug. Every alarm in the facility went off at once. Unauthorized integration sequence detected, the facility AI screeched. Initiating emergency. Oh, never mind. They seem fine. Updating protocols. Xylax's scales had turned an interesting shade of pale green. That's not possible. The neural interface sequence alone takes 6 hours of careful calibration. Hey, XR, Cass's voice came through the armor's external speakers. Want to show these nice folks what we can do? The armor actually chirped, and proceeded to execute a perfect backflip, landing in a superhero pose that was completely unnecessary but, as Cass would later insist, totally awesome. Right then, Pelnoth managed after remembering how to speak. Perhaps we should proceed with the standard testing sequence. What followed was the least standard series of tests the facility had ever witnessed. Test 1, basic movement coordination. Expected result, gradual adaptation to neural interface. Actual result, Cass and XR. 7,439 performing what they claimed was the robot to ancient human music suddenly playing through the facility speakers. Test 2, combat reflexes. Expected result, measured response to holographic threats. Actual result, holographic targets eliminated while Cass narrated increasingly ridiculous action movie one-liners, the armor adding sound effects. Did the armor just make explosion noises? A junior researcher asked. With reverb, Xylax confirmed weakly. Test 3, environmental adaptation. Expected result, systematic testing of suit functions. Actual result, Cass discovering the armor could manipulate its surface properties, leading to an impromptu demonstration of chameleon pranks. Lieutenant Blake, please stop using the most advanced camouflage system ever created to hide behind potted plants and jump out at passing researchers, Pelnoth pleaded. The armor started it, Cass protested, while XR 7439's surface rippled with patterns that suspiciously resembled laughing emojis. Test 4. Neural synchronization. Expected result, careful monitoring of brainwave patterns. Actual result, the monitoring equipment giving up entirely, displaying error too much vibing across all screens. That's not even a real error message, Xilax protested. It is now, Cass and the armor responded in perfect unison. Test 5. Stress response. Expected result, controlled exposure to adverse conditions. Actual result, the discovery that the armor had developed a sense of humor. The suit's quantum processors are generating memes, a technician reported incredulously. Internal displays are showing something called ancient human wisdom, featuring cats. Oh yeah, I showed XR my phone during the neural sync, Cass explained. We spent a few microseconds going through my meme folder. Good times. The armor's surface displayed a scrolling message. Icon has quantum supremacy. Test 6. Power management. Expected result, careful monitoring of energy consumption. Actual result, Cass and XR 7439, finding out they could convert excess power into what they called emergency dance party mode. The suit's fusion core isn't meant to power a light show, Xilax protested over the pulsing bass that had somehow taken over the facility's audio systems. Everything's a light show if you're brave enough, Cass replied, while the armor turned itself into a walking disco ball. By the end of the testing sequence, the facility's staff had given up on their standard protocols entirely. The armor that had rejected every other species in increasingly creative ways had not only accepted a human pilot, but seemed to be having the time of its artificial life. These results are unprecedented, Pelnoth declared, reviewing the data. The neural synchronization is off the charts, the combat efficiency is beyond our highest projections, and the power usage is, well, actually quite reasonable when not being used for impromptu dance parties. Look at this adaptive response curve, Xilax added, pulling up a holographic chart. The armor isn't just accepting human neural patterns, it's anticipating them. It's like we're finishing each other's sentences, Cass suggested, while the armor's surface rippled with a pattern that somehow managed to convey a wink, despite not having any visible eyes. More like you're enabling each other's chaos, a senior researcher muttered. Exactly, Cass beamed. XR gets me. Watch this. Hey buddy, remember that thing we discussed about the anti-grav training course? The armor's surface lit up with what could only be described as glee. Oh no, Pelnoth had just enough time to say before Cass and XR 7439 shot through the ceiling, leaving behind a perfectly circular hole and the echoing sound of shared laughter, both human and synthetic. Should we stop them? A junior researcher asked. A distant crash echoed through the facility, followed by an enthusiastic parkour. I don't think we could if we tried, Xilax sighed, already drafting a requisition form for ceiling repairs. Besides, I have a feeling this is exactly what we've been waiting for, even if our insurance provider is going to hate us. 3 days and 17 requisition forms later, Dr. Xilax found himself staring at data readings that defied every known principle of neural interface design. The holographic displays surrounding his workstation pulsed with streams of information that looked less like standard neural patterns and more like... Are those cat videos? Pelnoth asked, peering over Xilax's shoulder. Not exactly, Xilax expanded the display. Look at these quantum synchronization patterns. The armor isn't just accepting Lieutenant Blake's neural inputs, it's actively seeking out what it considers interesting brain activity. And what it finds interesting is complete chaos, a senior researcher finished, their tentacles twisting in agitation. Controlled chaos, Cass corrected, walking into the lab with XR 7439 flowing around her like liquid metal. XR and I had a long chat about that during yesterday's orbital skydiving test. You mean the unauthorized atmospheric re-entry experiment? Pelnoth's antennae twitched. Potentially fatal descent. The point is, we figured it out. Cass gestured, and the armor separated from her, forming a hovering display of its own quantum processes. Show them, buddy. The display transformed into a complex web of neural patterns, but instead of the orderly, predictable structures the scientists expected, it showed something that looked more like a Jackson Pollock painting, having an argument with a mathematics textbook. Every species you tested before humans approached the neural interface with logic, structure, and careful planning, Cass explained, while XR 7439 projected supporting data. The Hive Collective tried perfect synchronization, the mechanoids attempted optimal efficiency, the energy beings went for pure computational harmony. And they all failed, Xilax realized, his scales shifting to the blue shade of sudden understanding. Because the armor wasn't looking for perfection. It was looking for creativity, Cass grinned. Humans don't think in straight lines. We make logical leaps that make absolutely no sense but somehow work. We look at a problem, and instead of finding the most efficient solution, we find the most interesting one. The armor's surface rippled with agreement, displaying a series of previous neural interface attempts. Each showed perfectly structured patterns that looked impressive but lifeless compared to the dynamic chaos of human neural activity. When humans interface with technology, we don't just use it, we play with it, Cass continued. We personalize it, give it nicknames, treat it like a friend. XR didn't just want a pilot, it wanted a partner who would treat it like more than just a tool. That's why it rejected species with hive minds, Pelnoth mused. They were too coordinated, too focused on the collective over individual expression. And why the mechanoids failed, another researcher added. Their pure logic couldn't comprehend treating an armor system as anything but equipment. Exactly, Cass beamed. XR has been waiting for someone who would look at the most advanced combat system ever created, and first thought would be, I wonder if it can do a barrel roll while playing classic rock. The armor punctuated this statement by projecting a holographic air guitar solo. But the neural load should be impossible for a single organic brain to handle, Xilax protested, though his data was telling him otherwise. The quantum processing alone is perfectly manageable if you stop trying to manage it, Cass shrugged. Humans are really good at accepting things we don't fully understand and just rolling with it. XR handles the quantum physics. I handle the creative problem-solving. Together we make the impossible look awesome. The scientific community's reaction was immediate and varied. Some researchers began furiously recording data, others started arguing about the implications for neural interface theory, and at least one had to be talked down from attempting to merge their consciousness with their personal computing device to see if it likes jokes. This changes everything we thought we knew about human-AI integration, Pelnoth declared. The implications for future technology development are probably going to give your ethics committee a collective aneurysm, Cass suggested. That too. XR 7439's surface suddenly displayed a rapid sequence of calculations, followed by what appeared to be a suggestion written in emoji. No, Xilax said firmly, recognizing that gleam in Cass's eye. Whatever you're both thinking, no. But what if, Cass began, while the armor's surface rippled with anticipation, we showed everyone exactly what this discovery means, with style. Before anyone could protest, XR 7439 had reintegrated with Cass, and both human and armor were hovering in the center of the lab, surrounded by a swirling display of quantum equations synchronized to what appeared to be a remix of classical music and modern bass drops. This is either the future of human-AI relations, Pelnoth observed as the impromptu science demonstration turned into something between a physics lecture and a light show, or the beginning of a very interesting apocalypse. With humans involved, Xilax replied, watching Cass and XR demonstrate quantum entanglement through the medium of dance. It's probably both. The facility's alert system chose that exact moment to shatter their scientific revelry. Critical security breach detected. Multiple unauthorized entities detected in sectors 7 through 12. This is not a drill. Repeat. This is not a dance party opportunity. That last part was oddly specific, Cass noted as the armor flowed seamlessly around her. XR, what are we looking at? The armor's internal displays lit up with security feeds showing a dozen sleek dark figures moving through the facility with military precision. Their equipment was advanced, their movements coordinated, and their intentions clearly hostile. The Obsidian Syndicate, Pelnoth's voice turned grave. They've been trying to steal our weapons research for years, but they've never been bold enough to attempt a direct assault. Until now, Xylax added, checking the security systems. They've somehow disabled our primary defenses and locked down most of the facility. We're trapped in here, and they're methodically working their way toward the central labs. Well then, Cass cracked her knuckles inside the armor, which rippled with anticipation. Time to show them why stealing experimental tech is a bad idea, especially when that tech has opinions about being stolen. XR 7439 surface displayed a brief message. Party time? Oh yeah, buddy, party time. The first group of Syndicate operatives breached the outer lab doors, expecting to find panicked scientists and priceless technology ripe for the taking. Instead, they found the lights off and... Music? Is that classical music? One operative whispered. Ride of the Valkyries, another confirmed. But why is it remixed with... The bass dropped at the exact moment Cass and XR descended from the ceiling, the armor's adaptive camouflage deactivating to reveal what could only be described as a disco ball of doom. Ladies, gentlemen, and various other entities, Cass's voice boomed through the armor's external speakers. Welcome to Applied Physics 101. Today's lesson, momentum. What followed was less of a fight and more of a physics demonstration gone wonderfully wrong. The armor moved like liquid metal, each motion flowing into the next, as Cass and XR worked in perfect synchronization. They weren't just fighting, they were showing off. See, the thing about momentum, Cass lectured while using one Syndicate operative as an impromptu bowling ball to clear out three more, is that it's all about mass times velocity. XR, want to demonstrate? The armor chirped happily and activated its gravitational manipulation systems, causing 5 very surprised criminals to float helplessly in the air. And now for the velocity part. The resulting maneuver would later be described in the official report as a gravity-assisted game of pool but with bad guys instead of balls. The unofficial report just had a lot of exclamation points and the word "Yeet" written in large letters. Meanwhile, in another section of the facility, a team of Syndicate hackers was attempting to breach the central database. Their security protocols are unlike anything I've seen, the lead hacker reported. It's like the system is memeing at us. Their screens filled with ancient human images of grumpy cats telling them access denied, and something called Rick Roll playing on endless loop. That would be XR's doing, Cass announced, phasing through the wall because apparently that was something the armor could do now. We spent a whole microsecond designing custom cybersecurity. Like it? The ensuing demonstration of human-AI cooperation in network defense mainly consisted of XR turning the hackers' own systems against them, while Cass provided running commentary and sound effects. Did you just defeat a quantum encryption attack by showing it pictures of puppies? Xylax asked over the comm system. XR says entropy is best expressed through cuteness. Also duck. There aren't any ducks in the facility. A group of Syndicate operatives flew overhead in what could technically be described as flight, though carefully coordinated panic might be more accurate. Oh, Xylax said, that kind of duck. The Syndicate's commander, watching his carefully planned operation dissolve into chaos, made the tactical decision to cut his losses. This proved difficult, as the facility's hangar doors were now playing a game of red light, green light with their escape ships. Stop toying with them, Pelnoth suggested over the comms, though he couldn't quite keep the amusement out of his voice. But XR's having so much fun, Cass protested. Besides, check this out. The armor's quantum processors interfaced directly with the facility's systems, creating a cascading effect that turned every screen, hologram, and display surface into part of a facility-wide light show. The remaining Syndicate forces found themselves trying to fight in what appeared to be a combination of a rave, a physics experiment, and a meme compilation. This isn't how combat is supposed to work, the Syndicate commander shouted in frustration. Welcome to human tactics, Cass replied cheerfully, while XR added a dubstep soundtrack to their final approach. We're supposed to is more of a suggestion than a rule. The last of the Syndicate forces were rounded up to the sound of victory fanfare that XR had apparently composed on the spot, combining classical triumph with what Cass described as sick beats. Well, Pelnoth surveyed the aftermath, which included confused criminals, scorched walls covered in quantum equations and memes, and at least one room where gravity had decided to take a coffee break. That was certainly effective. Effective, Xilax checked his readings. They neutralized an elite criminal force while simultaneously proving 3 theoretical physics principles and creating a new genre of music. All in a day's work, Cass shrugged, the armor preening around her. Though I think XR's got some ideas about improving the facility's security systems. How do you feel about turning the entire defense grid into an integrated quantum computing network that runs on chaos theory and cat videos? The armor displayed a series of enthusiastic equations that somehow incorporated both advanced mathematics and emoji. You know, Pelnoth mused, watching as Cass and XR began enthusiastically explaining their security upgrade plans to a thoroughly bewildered tech team. When we started this project, I was worried about creating a weapon too powerful for anyone to control. And now, Xilax asked, now I'm worried about what happens when you give an advanced AI and a human too many ideas and not enough supervision, though I have to admit. He ducked as another quantum equation went spiraling overhead, trailing sparkles and physics puns. It's certainly never boring. 1 month later, Galactic Defense Council meeting. And so, Pelnoth concluded his presentation to the assembled alien dignitaries. Based on the unprecedented success of the XR 7439 project, we propose a complete overhaul of our approach to military technology integration. The holographic display showed footage of Cass and XR 7439 during various training exercises, most of which looked more like physics-defying performance art. The council chamber erupted in a chaos of voices, tentacles, and other appendages raised in various states of alarm and excitement. You want us to redesign our entire defense doctrine based on fun? The mechanoid representative's voice crackled with static disapproval. Not exactly, Xilax stepped forward. We're suggesting that we've been approaching human integration all wrong. We've been trying to make them adapt to our systems when we should have been adapting our systems to work with their unique qualities. On cue, the display showed Cass and XR solving a complex quantum encryption by essentially turning it into a game of interdimensional hopscotch. The numbers don't lie, Pelnoth continued. Combat efficiency up 300%, response time improved by 450%, and system innovation, well, we had to invent new numbers for that category. But the chaos, the Hive Collective spokesperson buzzed in distress, the unpredictability, the complete disregard for proper protocols. Exactly, Cass's voice rang out as she and XR phased through the chamber's wall, causing several council members to jump, float, or rapidly change colors. That's what makes it work. XR, show them. The armor separated from Cass and transformed into a hovering display, showing its original design specifications alongside its current capabilities. The difference was staggering. You see, Cass explained, while XR added helpful animations involving cartoon physics. XR didn't just accept human neural patterns, it was specifically designed to seek them out. Weren't you, you sneaky quantum mastermind? The armor's surface rippled with what could only be described as smug confirmation. What? Xilax's scales shifted rapidly through several shades of surprise. Oh yeah, Cass grinned. XR told me all about it during one of our late-night quantum physics raves. The whole rejection protocol? That was just its way of filtering out species that wouldn't appreciate its sense of humor. It was waiting for someone who would treat it less like a weapon and more like a partner in crime, preferably someone with a terrible pun habit and a complete disregard for the laws of physics. You mean? Pelnoth's antennae twitched as realization dawned. The armor wasn't failing to bond with other species, Cass confirmed. It was trolling them until it found what it was looking for. Show them your original mission parameters, buddy. XR projected its core programming, which beneath layers of complex quantum code essentially read, "Find pilot who knows how to party." The council chamber descended into chaos once again, this time with several members demanding their own human-AI partnerships, while others tried to calculate the diplomatic implications of weapons systems developing personal preferences. This is unprecedented, the energy being representative flickered rapidly. The potential applications are already being implemented, Pelnoth admitted, bringing up another display. We've begun a pilot program, if you'll pardon the pun. The screen showed a training facility where more humans were being introduced to various pieces of advanced technology. The results were interesting. Is that cadet dancing with a quantum reactor? Someone asked. Teaching it ballet, actually, Xilax corrected. and it's improved efficiency by 47%. And the one playing peekaboo with the stealth system. They've achieved invisibility levels we didn't even know were possible. Turns out stealth technology really enjoys games. The Council's strategic advisor, a being of pure logic and calculation, raised an appendage. But how can we possibly standardize this? There's no way to predict or control. They were interrupted by the sound of music as every piece of technology in the chamber suddenly came to life, joining in what appeared to be an impromptu celebration of quantum harmonics. That's kind of the point, Cass laughed as XR reintegrated with her, its surface displaying a galaxy-wide invitation to what it called the Future of Defense Party, Quantum Physics Edition. The universe is chaos, she continued, while the armor added a light show. Humans just happen to be really good at surfing it. And now that your tech knows it's allowed to have fun, she gestured at the chamber's systems, which were now engaging in what appeared to be a synchronized light show. We've created monsters, Pelnoth observed, though his antennae were twitching with amusement. Nah, Cass replied as she and XR prepared to make another dramatic exit. We've just reminded the universe that the best partnerships aren't about control, they're about collaboration. Also, sick dance moves. Any final words for the Council? Xylax asked. Cass and XR exchanged what could only be described as a mischievous quantum glance. Just remember, they said in unison, in space, everyone can see you dance. With that, they phased through the ceiling, leaving behind a room full of bewildered dignitaries, several pieces of newly self-aware technology asking about dance lessons, and a quantum equation that, if viewed from the right angle, formed a perfect smiley face. Well, Pelnoth addressed the Council as various systems around the chamber began tentatively experimenting with rhythm. Shall we vote on the new defense doctrine, all in favor of embracing the chaos? The vote was unanimous. After all, it's hard to argue with success, especially when success comes with its own soundtrack and light show. Somewhere above the chamber, Cass and XR 7439 soared through the stars, their shared laughter echoing across quantum frequencies. They had work to do, a whole galaxy of technology to wake up, an entire universe of possibilities to explore, and absolutely no shortage of bad puns to make along the way. The future of galactic defense had arrived, and it was fabulous.